Hello and welcome. Today, my guest is Joe. He's 43 years old, lives in Brooklyn, New York City, and he says he's been seeing things since he was a child, seeing spirits, and I believe hearing voices, hearing thoughts of other people, like telepathy. That's
Yeah.
really interesting. Joe, thanks for joining me. How you doing?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Rich. Thank you for
Awesome.
taking the time out.
No problem. So I guess you can really start at whatever point, maybe as a child. Has it always been this way, or did you kind of awaken to it at one point?
It's always been this way. It's funny because I really didn't understand. Because when you're a child, you don't understand why you see elderly people around you and things of that nature, or the kind of intense dreaming. I'm Pisces, by the way, so automatic empathy and just an advanced heightened niche for the spiritual realm, and I accept it. But it was really funny because I believe it all started, I remember, when my great grandmother, my mother's mother, had passed on. And I didn't understand why I kept seeing her all the time, physically, like I see you now, or would look at myself in the mirror. As I grew older, the image kind of faded away. Um, but even though that faded away, my interest in the spiritual world did not. I started reading. I did any kind of research that I could. And as I grew older and more um, in tune with myself, like I said, I am Pisces, so everything just happens naturally. I said, "Oh wow, what's going on?" Um, because of the research and because I do a lot of meditation and just concentration on candle work and things of that nature, I really have the ability to not only hear people's emotions and their thought process just by looking. Just I don't even have to concentrate a lot of the time. Being spiritual and a human being is kind of a toss up because you want to listen to one side and your human side, your humanity kind of steps in and says, well, yeah, you can listen to your spiritual side, but you can also be yourself and make mistakes. And I've done both. But hearing thoughts, hearing human emotion, feeling what other people feel is wild. Um, Children crying are is really painful and upsetting at times. Just as yesterday, I passed by a funeral home and I can feel the sadness of the people, just the grief of the loss of whomever they were missing at the time. I've been in certain situations where I can actually predict what the outcome will be. Like I said, I don't know if it's because of my research, my natural ability to be heightened. Many spiritualists that I've gone to see, my mother has gone to see, said that I do have a natural gift and I really would benefit from speaking to individuals, just trying to maneuver myself. I am a physically disabled individual, so telling someone, "Hey, don't, do this because I foresee this," eh, you don't know whether or not to say anything. I had a friend of mine recently last week. Um, I My spiritual side said, "You're either going to hear something bad involving this individual, or she might not even make it." And sure enough, and I felt really bad because my friend had said, "Why didn't you tell me anything?" And I'm like, sometimes you can and sometimes you cannot interfere.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, free will and all. You just you can't. Not that I don't want to, I just can't. Here in New York, we have the Twin Towers. When that went down, I had a still to this day a very hard time passing there uh, or driving by there because I would hear the screams, the cries, the sound of the buildings crash, and things of that nature. I don't normally tell this to anyone because then they'll think I'm crazy. I know I'm not, um,
Oh, no.
but that's what it is. When you have the abilities, gifts from God or whomever, whatever you believe in, you're automatically deemed crazy
Mhm.
because of the fact that you have an ability, a gift. And a lot of the times I don't want to keep it to myself, but I figure this: if my own parents do not want to listen to my advice, my spiritual advice, then what makes me think that strangers outside would want to listen as well?
Mhm.
And I don't know if it's because of the disability. I don't know if it's because of free will. I don't know. I can't say. But I would love to counsel individuals. But again, I'm 43 years old, and you know, it gets to be a little daunting sometimes when you're in a room with a person and they're so emotional and try to weave yourself around their emotion to try to protect your emotions and to help a person.
Mhm. Well, have you ever maybe wondered if there was an actual purpose? Like maybe you could take that and actually use it to your advantage. Just if you could get through those energetic blockages of that inner voice that's saying, "No, nobody's going to listen to me."
Well, that's why I wanted to contact you, Rich, because I've seen your videos and I do believe that as soon as you stated that you wanted to make a podcast about this, I was all aflutter because I here's another person on YouTube that is not only successful but is also giving spiritual advice, which we all need at some point in life, I believe. That is not only doing tarot card readings, but just being able to counsel people. And I would love to either have something like this or this platform to be able to do the same. You know, I I'm not afraid to ask for help. I mean, I don't know everything, and I'm not supposed to know everything. It's always good to meet someone and they, you know, help. How do I get started? Or
Yeah,
how?
how about this? I'm sure after this video, there will probably be people who actually want to reach out to you. Would you be open to that?
Yes, absolutely,
How could
absolutely.
they get a hold of you?
They could reach me on my YouTube. I do have a YouTube channel as well. I can actually link that information in the chat box.
Okay.
I'll do that. And or I can send that out to you as well, and we can.
Yeah, I'll put it in the description.
Right. Um, and I do have my Instagram and Facebook and things like that. So I mean, I can send that to you, and we can
No
put that
problem.
out.
Yeah, I'll link all that in the description of the video. Do you have any, like, maybe specific stories? Anything interesting or crazy or anything like that?
Other than me being accosted by things that go bump in the night, I'm basically a dream weaver. When I dream, I really am seeing into future events. I do also get um, like one night I was sleeping and I felt I felt an entity on me, and when I went to wake up, before my body actually woke up, I did see a shadow with long hands and really tall, and I had to scream at it. I don't know if it was for my benefit or to make it go away. If I didn't let out that scream, I don't know what would have happened because my body was frozen when I got up, and it
Mm.
was warm that day. It was really warm. I have had outer body experiences as well. It all happens when I sleep, when I dream. Like I said, this has been going on since I was a child, um, and I've always wanted to delve deeper, because it's my story could probably help others, and
Mm.
that's what I want. That's the goal here. I know that's your goal, and I couldn't be more happier to have had.
Absolutely. When you see some of these spirits, sometimes do they ever have anything to say to you, like verbally, or do they communicate with you telepathically?
Like my relatives, I have a cousin who accidentally overdosed himself. And every now and then when he does come, he says specifically, tell my mother I'm sorry. Or my grandparents come and they'll say that I miss you, and when am I going to see you, and things of that nature. And I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready, please.
Yeah.
But I have seen one time I did dream. They say the streets are paved in gold up there, and I did see beautiful gold streets and a light that was so intense that the sun out now cannot ever compare to the sun that I saw when I probably was up there while I was sleeping, while I was having an out of body experience. I know this because when I'm through, I wake up cold, ice cold. It could
Wow.
be 100 degrees outside. My body wakes up ice cold, and that's how I know.
Are you thinking that maybe you might actually possibly die in your sleep?
I have been thinking that for a while. Luckily, it hasn't happened lately, and it hasn't happened on a regular basis. It's only happened a few times, but those few times, I either believe that I die and come back, or my body, my soul is traveling.
So what's that experience like? Is it kind of like your normal near-death experience, or like do you raise up and see your body like on the bed, or do you just wake up in a different dimension?
Um, I I see it as a dream state. I that's what I see it as, but I know that it happened because I wake up the way I do. When I wake up in a pool of my own sweat, that's just a regular dream, and I, whatever happens happens. The difference is the coldness of the body. I know that when we transition, our bodies get cold,
Mhm.
and that's the only way that I know that I've traveled outside of my body. Um, I mean, to literally see the streets of heaven, which I believe that that's what I've seen.
I guarantee it.
It's wonderful, and to know that that exists for me and others, is wonderful. I just pray and hope that it doesn't happen too early, but
Right.
you know.
So a lot of people, I've been really fascinated with near-death experiences for many, many years. Matter of fact, that path is what led me in one way or another to my actual spiritual awakening. But a lot of people, when they describe like near-death experiences or traveling to the other side, they'll say that it's like ultra real, like it's more real than this. Do you get any of that kind of feeling at all?
Yes, I feel that I'm in my home, or I'm speaking with you when when I'm speaking with someone. It doesn't feel like I've woken up from a dream. And when I wake up, I want to go back,
Yeah.
you know. And I want to be here, but I also want to be there as well, you know. Um, it's really funny. But I'm not finished what I have to do here. I'm not done. I know I'm not done. So
Another thing that I've heard too, and I don't know how deep you've dove into this, but like Dolores Cannon in her literature and her lectures that she gives, she has stated that there are more spirits on the other side in line for the disabled bodies than any other, because that's how you pay off the most karma. Have you ever wondered if that's what's happening?
well, I I was raised Catholic. So being that I was raised Catholic, and I am Italian, first generation Italian American. So the going theme of that is that I must have done something in my former life that was so egregious that now I'm paying for it. I mean, I I don't feel that way, um, because if I'm paying for a sin, then I should be paying for my sins in this life as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it a cycle? You know what I mean?
Well, with all the research that I've done, that word karma is a big blanket that covers lots of different stuff.
Right.
And to have done something bad and then be punished for it is just like one little tiny speck of that whole spectrum, you know?
Right.
So no, not necessarily. I mean, it's from all the research that I've done, it just really all depends, you know. Like people come to me for readings a lot, and it'll turn out that the connection they're experiencing is a karmic connection, and all it really means is that you all tried this in a previous lifetime and it didn't quite work. So you switched roles around and now you're going to try it this way, you know. So but that could, I'm almost wondering if that could, because here in this dimension, I'm a very strong believer that this slow, dense third dimension experience took a long time to build.
Right.
And the humans, the 3D humans that have been here really playing this game for a long time have it dialed in. And maybe like with the vessel that you incarnated in, you're not all the way tuned in possibly to just strictly the third dimension and the human game. You know, you may be kind of partially tuned in and then partially tuned in to what else is out there, you know, which makes the human experience difficult to tune into, you know.
I mean, that to me makes perfect sense, only because I come from a world that I don't really fit in. And although that I'm okay with that, it really boggles me that I still at 43 need to shuffle my way around people, you know. um and spirituality comes in all forms, and um it's whatever you believe, and I don't knock anyone for their beliefs, but I believe that I am more in tune because of the fact that I do have a disability, because I am I hate the word innocent in some ways, that I will never experience the feeling of, I might dislike someone, but I don't know what it fully feels like to absolutely hate. Hate is not only a strong word, but your body just does a lot to hate someone,
Mhm.
to kill someone, to hurt someone. My belief is do no harm. My belief is do unto others. Okay.
Mhm.
And I that's what I believe in. I would never hurt nor harm anyone. Do people provoke? Absolutely. And do you want to? Absolutely.
Right.
But that karmic slap in the face is just it's too hurtful. And if this is karmatic, excuse me, English is not my first language. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. um I really stick by the fact that it's do no harm and do unto others, which has gotten me into beautiful situations in life and bad situations in life because I always try to help and to heal and to um, be very hands on with individuals. But like I said before, sometimes I can't even counsel my parents. What makes me think that I'm going to counsel
Well,
strangers?
I mean, that's the exact same thing with me. I don't know how long you've been following me, but my path really began when I lost everything
Yeah,
and ended up going homeless. And I lived on the streets under a bridge. And then I turned myself into a homeless shelter. And that's when I accidentally found the law of attraction on YouTube. I had never heard of such a thing. And so I start tooting law of attraction manifestation. And everybody that was close to me laughed at me and made fun of me, laughed and made fun of me. And even still to this day, I have a lot of, well, I haven't seen anybody in my family since about 2015, but from a distance, they watched me climb out from under a bridge and get to where I am today, which is, as far as I know, I'm the most successful person in my family for I don't know how many generations, and they still won't listen to me. They still, you know what I mean? So I think it has something to, yeah, it's like that thing where your biggest hater is somebody who's really close to you, and
yeah,
the person that admires you the most is a complete stranger.
yep.
So if I were you, I don't think I would let that bug me too much. I think that's just kind of like a default setting that comes along with, family and having people close to you. And we always kind of have this thing where we intrinsically feel drawn to what feels out of reach. And if it's, oh, you're a family member, you're really close to me, get away from me, whatever, I've been dealing with you my whole life, that type of, but this total stranger on the internet, I want to go listen to him. So if I were you, I don't think I would let that stop me. um have you ever, well, I'm sure you have encountered some situations like you were saying earlier where you actually were able to help somebody out of a messy situation because of some of the visions that you had?
Well, I have been able to every once in a while, just whatever I'm feeling at that point in time. If the person actually says, "Can you help me?" If they do not say those words, it's not that I don't want to. I don't feel that I am welcomed by it. So unless you say, please, can you counsel me in I don't like the word read because when you read, my abilities are to be able to feel your vibrations and feel your emotions and feel what's going on not only by what you tell me but what your emotions make me feel towards you. But unless you give me permission, I
Mhm.
will do it because to me it's intrusive.
Yeah. I just wonder, because I mean, a lot of people out there, they don't always like asking for help. I wonder if maybe just flipping on the proverbial green light and kind of Like if you pick up on something, have you ever thought to maybe hint that, hint towards it to see if they would be welcome, and maybe they just were unsuspecting that you had the ability to help?
It again, it all depends on the person and what I feel from the person. I try not to, because the majority of people, I'm sorry, do not want help. They just don't. Okay, I don't mean to say that, but it's just reality. The
Mhm.
majority of people do not want help. The majority of the people would rather just deal with their basic woe is me type of life and lifestyle and be done with it, or they go the total route and open a book and skim through that book. We both know what book we're talking about. Skim through that book and say, oh, okay, that's my problem, that's that passage says how I'm going to solve it, and case closed. It doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way, because we are forever changing this world, and what people such as myself have the ability to bring to this world, um, is is phenomenal. But the fact that we always get pegged with mental illness, or it gets paired with mental illness, is beyond me. I'm not crazy. I'm very well educated. I mean, I yes, I'm a little cuckoo, but I'm fun cuckoo. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing mentally unstable about me, and other mystics and psychics and well known have gotten that poor reputation of, he was just a nut job, or she was just a lady in a cave sniffing vapors, and no, it's not like that,
Yeah.
it's just not.
Well, a big part of it is that, like, that third dimensional human game was the goal was to get the vibrations down to the lowest vibrations of 3D just to see if they could do it. And they did. They did. And one of the many, many ways that they made sure that they kept going lower and lower in vibration was to demonize anybody who is tuned into the fact that the reality that we are being programmed to believe is reality is bullshit. You know,
Exactly.
so that's what
Exactly.
they would do anytime there's ever been any, like Jesus, they killed him. They've
Right.
been,
Exactly.
yeah, they've been doing this, and even still to this day, if you see things, if you hear things, then they just call you crazy and stick you in a nut house. But
Right.
we're actually in a period in time now where that game is over. Okay, we're slowly and kind of annoyingly slowly raising up out of that, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I do what I do, and why now I have this right here to bring people like you on to share your experience. So
and and I really hope it does help someone, because not only I want people to understand that I'm not here for my own, to build myself up to any high standards. I am a person with a disability who is also an advocate, and I help people, and that's what my intent is. And if my belief is, if you don't help just one person throughout your lifetime, then it wouldn't have been worth it. And I'm glad that this has become a platform, and maybe even a stepping stone for myself, or for maybe you and I, to be able to do. No problem. No
absolutely.
problem.
Are you able, like with these things, you say that when you like see spirits and whatnot, is that something that just kind of happens at random, or are you able to do it on command, or do you know when it's about to happen?
It's like, it's weird. I call it Spidey sense. It really feels like a tingling, or um, a like my hairs in the back of my head will stand up, or I feel a cold something to my right or something to my left. Or when I was in my office, when we were working from an office, because I do have a day job, I would always feel someone in the right hand side on in the back of me, like just watching over me. Who it was, what it was, I don't know, because there we're right across the street from, or an avenue away, or two avenues away from a cemetery. So it kind of, I can't concentrate because it gets to be too much. But I always felt a presence of someone behind me just observing. When I went into the same building, I saw a woman, very well dressed, come in, because I left later on one evening, and she, oh, excuse me, in the morning. I came to work very early, and she followed me in. And I knew she was there. I saw the silhouette. I saw the kind of 19th century style of dress that she was wearing. Like, I can give you a detail, okay? It's when you're not able to be so detailed, that's when I say I'm a little skeptic. You know,
Yeah.
I, that's, if you can't be as detailed, then I can't fully grasp what you're trying to explain to me. My mother, every once in a while, hears a child with my voice call out to her. I'm not even home sometimes. I do hear children. Um, a while back, I was able to see before work. I guess the stresses of a normal human job, your spiritual side goes to sleep a little bit. Um, so when I'm not so concentrating on work, I will get children who come to me and ask questions, and I'm like, I don't know how to answer sometimes. Or when it's like someone's physically coming up to you and say, well, why did I die?
Oh, okay.
What happened to me? You know, how would I know? You know what I mean? If it's so random, I wouldn't know. And it has happened. And I just say that I have to meditate and pray for your soul, and make sure that you understand that you need to move on. Um, that's my answer normally.
Yeah, I was wondering as you were saying that if you were seeing like maybe the spirits of somebody who had passed on, or if you possibly were tuning into an overlap dimension.
It
Or
could be either one or the other, Rich, because in the I have trained myself. I haven't been trained by anyone. I'm a natural. What I do is comes natural to me. I guess if I had a mentor throughout my life, I would be able to um, better explain, or pull the words that I should have to explain. But all I know is I'm able to see some wild shit sometimes. I mean, it's crazy. Going to a cemetery and hearing certain things, or coming from a cemetery, or passing a cemetery, and you know, it's wild, thank you for being here. Really? You're welcome.
yeah.
and 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 you know, I went somewhere and all I heard was, "Where is the seer?"
The what? The seer? I'm just wondering, like, on the other side there. Now, I had a near-death experience of my own where I attempted suicide, and where I went was kind of like just right across the veil, probably where those spirits hang out. But for me, from what I remember, there wasn't really a lot of conscious thought. And it was kind of hazy and weird and strange. But I'm just wondering if some of these beings, how, because obviously they're coming up to you asking you because they know you can hear them,
Exactly.
and there's nobody else that they'd be able to. I wonder how that is that they can see you and know, oh, this person can see and hear me.
Right. And it's weird because my mother and father, mostly my mother, is able to see things as well, but she doesn't know what to do and she doesn't really accept it. My brother's afraid of it. So he just denounces everything, which is okay. You know, that's cool. I'm the most in tune, like I said, because I am a a Pisces. I am the my intuition and my ability to see and hear, and I accept it fully. It's just that my training, if you will, is it does lack. It does lack.
So is this something that's inherited? You say that your other family members have it?
Yeah. My grandmother had it. Um, she really didn't know what to do with it. My mother has it. She ignores it because she doesn't really know what to do with it. I accept it. I've trained myself in what I have read, researched, and also asked other spiritualists as well. But other than that, like I said, to have a mentor kind of individual that I can say, well, I need the proper training for, there's never been. I've done it all myself.
Yeah, from the way it sounds, it kind of sounds like I don't know if it's maybe a mentor, but maybe it's some energetic blockages of, because I'm sure if somebody was to come to you at any given time and say, "Can you help me?" Would you be able to flip the switch and turn it on and help them on command?
It all depends on if their intent is that they really want help.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I get that. I get them all day, every day, where people come to you and I don't know, it hasn't hit me in a while, but used to, I would just get hit with an onslaught of people who didn't want help. They just wanted me to tell them what they wanted to hear.
That's the problem. That's the thing, because I can automatically feel that they want advice or they want me to sugar, either lightly or heavily sugarcoat, what they think that they want to hear. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
That's kind of a skill that I've been working on in my career. And one of the things that I've noticed that kind of helps smooth that, because I'm the type, I don't want to bullshit you.
Exactly.
But I also, when I very first started doing what I do, I kind of came across a little bit abrupt and aggressive and abrasive, and that can push people away. So I don't want to be an asshole and push you away, but I also don't want to sugarcoat it and bullshit you. So how
Exactly.
do I find that middle? And one of the biggest things that I've adapted is inclusive language. You know, like instead of pointing and saying, you need to do this, you need to stop doing that, I will point out we humans, because it's me too, like all the advice that I give and all the help, I had to learn it all myself. The universe put me in all these positions to where I had manifested nothing but a shithole for a life. It
Exactly.
was a mess. It was a wreck. And so I've learned that maybe more inclusive language, so that you understand that, hey, I'm talking about me too. There's nothing special about me. I had to go through this, and I had to to learn this myself. So I've found that it's kind of like a balance whenever somebody comes for help, that you and then if you can honestly tell yourself that I'm not doing this to harm you. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm not trying to upset you. I know in my heart that I'm doing this to help you, and they still get mad at you, which they will sometimes. Okay, it is what it is. If that's where you're at right now, to the point to where you are fighting the help, then
Right.
at least I planted the seed.
Exactly.
Send them on the way. They can hate me. They can be calling me names. Rich is such an idiot, and I'm sure a lot of them do. But I planted a seed, and that seed, it depends on what you choose to do with it. If you shine some light on it, put it on the back burner, maybe it'll bloom into something good one of these days. I've had lots of people reach out to me and apologize and say, "Oh, I don't know if you remember me or not, but last year I said this to you and I called you names." And I'm like, I don't remember. So many people, and they say, I
Exactly.
have to apologize because what you said was true. And it took a while for me to see it, so I'm just wondering, like I said, your information is going to be linked in the description of the video. And if people reach out to you, there may be some things to think about. Like, if this person's energy feels like they won't really accept the help that I'm going to give them, now I need to ask myself, well, do I want to walk away from this telling myself that I didn't do anything, or at least plant a seed, whether it makes them mad at me or not,
Mm, exactly. And that's you have to, that's a skill. That really is. That's a skill, because you don't know what their intent is just by looking at you don't. Or you can be a little more in tune and feel the vibration if you do have the ability to do so. Um, I would say a lot of it is bullshit, and a lot of it does stem from, please just tell me what to do, and tell me how to fix it. And it doesn't work that way,
Right.
I mean, it can't. It all comes down to, if we knew what the numbers were tomorrow, we'd be millionaires, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So because of that, I don't want to give you false numbers, because I promised you that tomorrow you'll be a millionaire. It doesn't
Yeah.
work that way.
Well, not only that too, but if we want to go down that path, um, like if your baseline operating frequency is a broke or a lack mentality, and you manifested a lot of lack in your life, and you don't have the money that you want, and you're, no abundance. And if I dump $1 million on you while you're on that frequency, it's gonna ruin your life.
Exactly.
People think, because we have this thing that we do where we think that whatever we're lacking the most is the solution to our problem.
No.
And there's been many people. How many? You ever watch that show where people win the lottery and then they end up like broke within 5 years?
On YouTube, there's plenty of the documentaries that I've seen, that not only that, but they're, because of whatever they lack in their life, or they don't give back, or whatever the case may be, whatever karma that they put out when they get that money, if you don't take care of others before you take care of yourself, you're truly not a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
just not. I mean, you could be the brokest ass person in the world and still be the richest,
Yeah.
because you are always doing for others, and blessing people, and that's what I maintain, and I will always maintain that. Again, people are natural assholes, unfortunately, but you do what you can, and you never really stop helping
Yeah.
whomever wants to accept it. If people don't want to accept it, then there's nothing that we can really do.
All right, all right. That's pretty unfortunate. But anyway, it looks like we're getting kind of close to coming up on an hour now. Did you have anything else that you wanted to share?
Um, I really just, again, I want to thank you for doing this. I don't know how you you were, not only when you read my email, but in visually seeing a person such as myself, and listening to a story such as mine. I'm sure you've never come across or have encountered someone like me, and I couldn't be more happy to be able to learn from you, and I'm sure you're learning from me, and that's what life is. It's a learning process, and you undergo it in many different aspects. And I am so happy to have this conversation with you, and I'm glad, I'm able to speak to someone who is not only tuned in, but is able to accept all the shit that comes out of my mouth, because it does sound weird to
Some people.
some people, but I feel that it's necessary to listen, because there is another world beyond our physical here, and we really need to start paying attention to that and not worry so much about the physical world. It's about the big picture. It's about humanity. It's about being accepting of one another. I didn't say loving, I said accepting of. And I would hope that that's what the takeaway from our conversation is today.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. Well, I appreciate you. Again, I will link Joe's information in the description of the video. If anybody wants to reach out and maybe just talk to him, or, need some help or advice. But other than that, I'm going to go ahead and end this here. Joe, I greatly appreciate you for tuning in here and having this conversation with me. And I
Thank
will see you later. All right.
you.